If you are looking for some letter writing inspiration, as well as all of my tips and tricks for using wax seals in your artwork and in your correspondence, keep watching because you are in the right place. Hi friends, I'm Ashley. Welcome to Darling Cottage Diary. Today we are writing a letter. I am writing a letter to myself to read this time next year. I didn't do this practice this past year and it made me sad. But I have my very first voiceover video actually was about reading the one that I had written myself in 2022, I believe. And it was really it was a really nice practice to have, and this time last year, I had a lot going on personally and with my day job, and I wasn't in a good headspace to write, and so it got away from me, and before I knew it, it was summer, and so I wanted to be more intentional about making sure I did that this year. I am using the printable that I created for this month's Ephemera and Inspiration Club. Both tiers of my Patreon, you are able to access this and print it yourself. I also have videos about how to print things to make them look nice, what paper to use, all of my tips and tricks for printables and downloadable content that I will link above and below the video in the description box. So if you like this, it is a quilting theme. It's paintings that I made from a quilted book cover. You might recognize it from a few videos ago. It's a quilted cover that I use for journals, for books, and for my tablet. So it's one of my most proud, I'm the most proud of that quilted piece. It's one that I've actually finished. I have made tons of hexies. I've made lots of yo-yos. I have made quilted needle books and the like, but this is my favorite thing I've ever quilted, and so I wanted to make some stationery out of it. So there's an envelope, and there is the letter form. There is also the same letter form that has a writing prompt at the top that basically is asking, if you turned your life into a quilt, what would it look like? Your happy memories stitched together and yet stained with sadness from tears that you've had, woven all together with, these little memories you have in between. But what are the big pieces of cloth from your life that are very important to your life? And so I wanted to answer that myself. And as I am not only working through reading a vintage, early 1900s book on écriture, French writing, I also it's one of my goals this year to write more in my journals in French, because I've said it before, I need it for my day job, and it's also it's my second language and I love it, and I'm always trying to improve it. So I decided to write this one in it, but I'll walk you through the different things that I talked about. But it is a good practice. I hope all of you take that and maybe try to write that yourself. But obviously a letter that you write for your future self to read doesn't need to be that. It can be just about anything you want. I would keep it, I wouldn't try to guide your hand on it either, because when I've done this before, I thought, looking back, I had actually put off opening it a couple of months. So it was 14 months or 15 months since I had opened it, because I was scared that my past self from just a year before would be disappointed with progress I had made in my business, or things I had chosen to do as a mom that year, or just I was worried my past self, I guess, wouldn't be happy with where future self ended up, which is a little bit strange. It took me more courage than I thought it would to open that silly letter. And I ended up reading it, and I had been so kind to myself that it was surprising. And I didn't intend to do that. That's just what came out when I wrote. So I wouldn't, try to force yourself to say anything in particular. I think what comes out is what needs to. So I definitely, I think it's a good thing for all of us to do. It's a good little reflection and I guess meditation if you want to think about it, but it's a good reflection to do both for your current self and your future self. So my ASMR lovers and viewers and the ones of you who prefer my no talking videos, I do want to tell you I have a long video coming. It's going to be a couple of hours that has my last 3 or 4 chatty videos that I saved, and I'm stringing them together without me chatting. It's without the voiceover. So it'll be a nice long video of no talking doing the same things, because the ASMR, particularly on this one, was really nice with the writing and the wax seals. So I didn't want you to miss out on that if you do like to use those for study with me or falling asleep or anything like that. So just so you know, that is coming. I don't know if it'll be next week or the following week, but it will arrive anyway. So the things that I'm writing, I just wanted to, I'll give you broad strokes. It is quite personal, but I did want to give you a decent example and not leave you hanging if you can't read it. So my very first fabric that came to mind that I would include in my life's quilt is a piece of my aviation uniform that I wore when I was at space camp. I won a scholarship when I was 11 or 12 to go there, and it was so much fun. We did flight simulations. We were on different teams and we competed. We did like quiz bowl style trivia competitions. We did hydroponics. We did all kinds of stuff. We got to get in a lot of the simulation machines, and we actually competed with like, if you were, they have a ship there that's kid size, that you can do all of the switches, and depending on what your job is, like I was a mission specialist, and so I got to get in the EVA chair and go build a satellite outside of the ship, and if me and my partner made it back, like we got certain points for that. And so you had a whole thing that you had to do, and then you switched with another group and they were in the shuttle, and then we had to be the mission control and get them back safely. And obviously it's simulation, but it was real to us, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. So that would be my first one. And some of the other things I included were like pieces of my kids' baby blankets, their swaddle blankets. If you've had babies, you know how wonderful those really soft, like muslin swaddle blankets are, especially if they're the Anais, and it's A and A, it's 2 names, but they're like bamboo and cotton, and they're so soft. I would include those. I actually did make a quilt out of those once they were out of them. And I included other fabrics, like, a cardigan that my boyfriend gave me, just little things like that. And it was really cool to think about what came to mind as I was writing. And some of them were sad things too, or they were happy at the time and they became sad because of how my life has turned out. So I would encourage you not to edit yourself as you're writing, because we want to remember the good things, but it's important that we remember some of the sad things too, so that it shows us how much to appreciate the good things. So anyway, that is what I decided to write, and I'm putting that aside to dry now, so we can talk about all of our wax seal tips. So if you have been watching my videos for any length of time, you know I typically use these types of wax seal wax. I don't use the pellets or the glue gun, like the low temp glue gun, wax gun ones. I typically use just the sticks that have the wick in the middle of it and drip it on there. I don't know if it's because it makes me feel like a Victorian lady or Regency lady, or if it's just strictly out of ease and it's the cleanest. Like, I don't have to clean a spoon afterward. I don't have to pull it out of, like, it's just, in my opinion, it's the easiest to do the little sticks. It's kind of has a less predictable outcome, but if you do it enough, you kind of get a feel for the different types of wax. These waxes are brand new. I just got them from Catherine Hastings. She is the queen of wax seals. I will try to tag her. I don't know if YouTube will let me, but her business, her podcast, I'm a huge fan. So I just received that from her. Oh, I'll have to link a video for that. That is that little locket. I made that a long time ago. Some of these are other ones that people have given me. The long rectangular one, and pretty much all of the ones I'm about to show you. Well, not this one. This one was my very first one that I bought around the same time I went to space camp, actually. But all of the rest of these I bought from Paper World. So I will put a link in the description box, and you can use that code on the screen to get, I think it's 10 or 15% off at Paper World with that code. But they're priced, if you're on a budget, they're priced really well, and I like a lot of their designs. They have a lot of very pretty feminine designs, and I like that they're not just a flat engraving. They have a lot of depth to them. And then, of course, Catherine Hastings as well. Hers are pretty phenomenal. And I purchased myself my very, very first antique, and it is just one of my prized possessions right now. It's a little fob. It's a little brass pendant charm that has a carnelian, I don't know if I'm saying this right, intaglio, something like that. But it's a carved carnelian gemstone, and it's got a really pretty bowl in it. And when I saw it, I knew I had to have it. Like, I sat on it and I thought about it for a whole week. I'm surprised I waited that long, but I sat on buying it because antique wax seals are quite an investment. But it's early 1800s. This is just baking paper. It is really good for wax seals. They come right off. And then putting something cold like a metal plate or a glass plate underneath it helps the wax cool quickly, and it gives a crisper image. I prefer using these over something like a silicone plate, partially because of the aesthetic, but also partially because it cools faster, and so you get a cleaner image typically that comes out. So anyway, the cow is it's important to me as the daughter of a rancher. I mean, he raises deer and cattle, but daughter of a rancher. I live in Texas. My ancient ancestors, from what I know about them, like, cattle was, livestock in general, but cattle in particular, for a very long time has been a symbol of prosperity, a symbol of wealth, because that kind of food, that kind of meat, and you could get dairy from them if you needed to. It was just really important to stability of a family, and I've always loved that symbol. And so I knew that I was going to use it for a whole lot of things, and I'm excited to be a steward of it because I'm going to keep it as in good shape as I can. Now, moving on to this. I haven't practiced all that much with doing multicolor that's not painting, doing multicolor waxes on one seal. I would recommend using the real low temp wax, like I think it's high resin versus low beeswax. That's what wax seals are like. Wax seal wax is made from tree resin, traditionally tree resin and beeswax, and then you add colors as you want. But the ones that have the wick in them, they're higher in one of them, and I think maybe they're higher in the resin, but they cool faster. They tend to cool faster, and they don't melt as smoothly. They're not as soft. So yeah, I guess that would be they were higher in resin. They cool too quickly, and so you can see it ended up kind of being messy. Trying to make it flat. It still turned out pretty, I think, but I need more practice with it for sure. And using something like the pellet wax or the stick wax that's higher in the beeswax itself, I think would probably do better. I'm gonna do some experimenting and I'll update you later. And speaking of temperatures, that's another tip I have, I guess. If you are doing a lot of seals in a row, that metal on the seal or stone, if you're using something like a stone, it's going to absorb that heat, and so they're not going to come out as crisp. And so make sure you have a little bowl that has, well, you wouldn't want to do that for the gemstones, but the metal ones, you could have a little bowl that has ice water in it, wipe off all the water in between uses, but it'll help cool it off faster and make sure that they're coming out evenly every time. And obviously I like adding I like adding the metallic paint pens on there. I will eventually invest in like chrome powder or something like that. Or I've seen people use like sparkly eyeshadow and it comes out really nice. I've used just regular like acrylic paint and it's come out really nicely. This is an example of the little heart pellet green wax that I showed at the beginning of the video, and I was just trying to clean out that spoon. That's how you clean out those spoons. You simply warm them up, and you can pour them out and make another little pellet, because you can always rewarm it to save for later, or you can make another seal. And again, if they don't come out well, all you have to do is remelt it. So as long as you're putting it on something like parchment paper or matte or something to where it's not sticking to paper itself, you can always reuse the wax until you like how it comes out. But for this letter, I was very excited to use my brand new antique seal. If you are somebody who likes to savor things and you delay gratification until you can enjoy it fully, I feel you. That is me. This came in the mail like early this week, and I didn't even open the box for a couple of days because I was like, I wanted to wait till this moment to do it. and then I couldn't wait. I couldn't stand it. I had to just open it and look at it like on Thursday or something, and then because I wanted to see how big it was because I was planning out this video, and then I was like, okay, I'm not going to use it until the video. And I just loved how crisp all of the details were. It blows my mind that somebody carved this with the technology of the time period. And I love the sound it makes when it comes off. But I for this one in particular, I do want to get chrome powder because the lines are so curved on the engraving, the paint didn't distribute very evenly, so I think a powder would definitely be better for this one. But I love it so much. I love how it came out. So this last seal that I'm going to put on the front, I got from Paper World, and I'll be using the Catherine Hastings wax again. I haven't been paid by either of these companies, by the way. This is just I bought everything fair and square. I do get a tiny little commission if you buy something through Paper World, but Catherine, I just really like her products. So anyway, that's just full disclosure on my part. And I just was excited to use this stuff and share this idea with y'all, to sit down and do something creative that wasn't necessarily involving a whole lot of, my normal supplies, because I do use wax seals in my journals, but I just wanted to offer something because a whole lot of people have asked me about wax seals the last couple of weeks. So I was trying to answer all of those questions. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the description box, or in the comments below the description box, because I know I've missed some things. I should have pulled up all of the questions together, but they're across platforms and I forgot. So if you have questions, please put them below. And if you liked the cow seal the best, please put a little cow emoji to let me know that you finished the video. And if you like the flower the best, please put any flower emoji, I don't really care which one it is, in the description box. So I did mix the little green and pink here. I just love I love pastels, and I wanted to see what they looked like if they had kind of been swirled together like that. I liked it. I'm not sure if I do it like that again. Maybe have them both starting solid on either side and redoing it. But anyway, I'll be hanging this in my studio to open with y'all next year. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful week and you find some creative time for yourself. Thank you so much for being here, friends. Bye.